It has just been a month when Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, along with European leaders, met the US President Donald Trump at the White House. And now, after an hour-long address at the UNGA on Tuesday, Trump met Zelenskyy again. This time, Trump's policies seem to slightly tilt towards Ukraine. In a post on Truth Social, Trump affirmed that Ukraine, with the help of the European Union, could win back all territories which it had lost to Russia. This tilt in Trump's policy towards Ukraine, if continued, could benefit Kyiv, which wants US to continue building pressure on Russia to stop the war.
Trump is a game changer by himself if he will be sure in Ukraine, and I think that he is more close now to this situation, and that's why.
Russia, however, said that Trump's statement is being influenced by Zelenskyy, and Moscow too will relay its stance to Washington, D.C.
As we understand it, President Trump's statements were made after this conversation with Zelenskyy, and apparently under the influence of visions Zelenskyy presented. This vision is in stark contrast to our understanding of the current state of affairs. However, we will also have the opportunity to convey our position to the American side. Russia is not a tiger, it is a bear. And there was no such thing as a paper bear. So Russia is a real bear. And Vladimir Putin has on many occasions and with different emotions described our bear. You can remember it. So there is nothing here about being of paper.
But Trump's top 8 Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has a different view. Rubio believes that the war cannot end militarily, but will end at the negotiating table.
A war that cannot end militarily, it will end at a negotiating table. That's where this war will end. But the longer it lasts, the more people will die, the more will be destroyed.
Trump, in his speech at the UNGA, had also pressured the European countries to put sanctions on Russia and its allies China and India.
In the event that Russia is not ready to make a deal to end the war, then the United States is fully prepared to impose a very strong round of powerful tariffs which would stop the bloodshed, I believe, very quickly. But for those tariffs to be effective, European nations, all of you are gathered here right now, would have to join us in adopting the exact same measures. I mean, you're much closer to this. We have an ocean in between. You're right there. And Europe has to step it up. They can't be doing what they're doing. They're buying oil and gas from Russia while they're fighting Russia. It's embarrassing to them, and it was very embarrassing to them when I found out about it, I can tell you that. They have to immediately cease all energy purchases from Russia.
But now the question is, what next? Will Trump walk the talk, or is it just another policy that will soon see a shift? With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
After ABC announced suspension of Jimmy Kimmel's show for an indefinite period, people in America came out into the streets to protest against what has been called silencing freedom of speech. But as criticism grew louder, the Jimmy Kimmel show was aired again. It was an emotional moment both for Kimmel and his fans as the talk show host broke down in tears. Let's take a look at this report.
Back to Jimmy Kimmel Live. We are still on the air in most of the country, except ironically for Washington, D.C., where we have been preempted. We are off the air in Nashville, New Orleans, Portland, Oregon, Salt Lake City, and St. Louis, where none of my wife's family is able to watch the show tonight. So sorry, Aunt Sharon. Sorry, Aunt Maureen. You'll have to go to YouTube, I guess.
And Jimmy Kimmel is back. After an announcement that the Jimmy Kimmel Live show was suspended indefinitely, Americans, including fans, top show personalities, anchors, actors, came out in open against the muzzling of freedom of speech in the oldest democracy in the world.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
But Kimmel's return was condemned by MAGA supporters and President Donald Trump, who called ABC network fake news for giving Jimmy Kimmel his job back. He was condescending towards Kimmel for not having any talent and for paying 99% positive Democrat garbage. Many Charlie Kirk supporters also expressed their disappointment.
I won't be watching it. I told my wife if I catch her watching Jimmy Kimmel that her TV will go in the garbage. Because to me, all these left-wing people are what's causing a lot of this problem. Like Charlie did, let's have a discussion. We don't have to kill each other over this.
You understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man.
But the return also saw Kimmel's emotional clarification for his earlier remark on Charlie Kirk's death that drew the ire of MAGA, leading to his live show being taken off.
I don't think what I have to say is going to make much of a difference. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. I have no illusions about changing anyone's mind. But I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man.
Kimmel condemned the smothering of voices and soon got back to his old style of taking a jibe at the US president for not being able to take a joke.
Our freedom to speak is what they admire most about this country. And that's something I'm embarrassed to say I took for granted until they pulled my friend Stephen off the air and tried to coerce the affiliates who run our show in the cities that you live in to take my show off the air. That's not legal. That's not American. That is un-American, and it is so dangerous. You almost have to feel sorry for him. He did his best to cancel me. Instead, he forced millions of people to watch the show. That backfired bigly. He might have to release the Epstein files to distract us from this now.
But if there were haters for Kimmel, there were also his fans who love him and were lined up outside Hollywood studio where Jimmy Kimmel's show airs from.
First of all, I'm really happy that Jimmy kind of won this battle. And, you know, we weren't really expecting to be able to get in because when we got the tickets, he was shut down. So we were really thrilled when we saw on the news that he was back.
This is just a testament of what happens when community bands together. And when we're united, we make a difference, we make a change.
For now, all seems to be well with the return of Jimmy Kimmel to the TV screen. But has freedom of speech returned and is being restored? Only time will tell. With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk's father, Errol Musk, has been accused of sexually abusing 5 of his children and stepchildren since 1993. The report was published by New York Times. The first allegation against Errol Musk, who has been married 3 times, surfaced when his 4-year-old stepdaughter reported inappropriate touching. A decade later, she accused him of other misconducts. Similar claims have been made by 2 daughters and a stepson. According to the New York Times report, 3 law enforcement probes were conducted, out of which 2 were closed without action, and the result of the 3rd is not known. Errol Musk, however, called this allegation false and baseless. America's shocking $100,000 H-1B visa fee has rattled global talent market. With the UK reducing visa costs, China introducing new K visas, and the UAE opening its doors to innovators, America's rivals are seizing the moment. With the world's brightest minds now looking elsewhere, is the United States giving away its edge in the race for talent? Find out in this report.
The United States has just shaken the global talent market. The Trump administration's decision to slap a staggering $100,000 annual fee on H-1B visa applications is changing the rules of the game. For decades, America was the dream destination for skilled professionals, especially in tech, healthcare, and research. But now, companies like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft are feeling the pinch, and thousands of workers, many from India, may see their American dream slipping away. And guess what? Other countries are moving fast to seize the opportunity. In the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Keir Starmer is rolling out a bold plan to make Britain a magnet for the world's brightest minds. A new global talent task force, backed by a £54 million fund, aims to attract elite scientists, researchers, and innovators. One proposal on the table? Cutting visa fees entirely for top achievers. The message is clear. If America closes its doors, Britain will open theirs wide. China is also stepping in. From October 1st, Beijing introduces the K visa, a brand new category designed for young science and tech professionals. Flexible, long-term, and open to independent researchers, the K visa signals China's determination to lead in future technologies. And then there's the United Arab Emirates, already a hotbed for expats. From golden visas for innovators to remote work permits to a new blue visa for sustainability experts, the UAE is offering multiple flexible pathways at a fraction of the US price. Add in zero income tax, world-class schools, and cutting-edge infrastructure, and it's no surprise global talent is flocking to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So while Washington insists this policy will protect American jobs, the reality is clear. The global race for talent has never been fiercer. And with Britain, China, and the UAE lowering barriers and rolling out the red carpet, America risks losing its edge as the world's innovation hub. Because in today's world, genius knows no borders, and the competition for the brightest minds is just getting started. With Shaurik Shah, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
Joining us live to discuss the situation of H-1B visa fee hike and what are the alternatives for students is also those who are seeking jobs is Dr. Karun Gupta, Global Career Counselor. Dr. Gupta, thank you so much for joining us. Let's begin with your first reaction when you heard that there is going to be a fee hike up to $100,000 for somebody who's passed out of Harvard. What did you make of it?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Geeta, for having me. Of course, things have not been easy for students and potential work aspirants. We're talking about 0.6 to 0.8 million H-1B visa holders who are impacted with this decision. And we know that each year around 85,000 visas are given. So, and historically, we also know that the chances of getting this visa in the lottery is around 1:7. Now what's going to happen is only the best and the brightest would be eligible for the H-1Bs because only a handful of top companies can actually afford to pay the $100,000 fee. This also means that going forward, the rush for H-1Bs is going to drastically reduce, and next year there will not even be a lottery system. So all in all, there is shock, there's disappointment, and things are going to be different for students who want to work in the US from next year.
Right. Right. In terms of concerns, now you have a lot of students in India who are consulting with you. Are you getting a lot of calls from them about what should they do next and how to go about things?
Absolutely. So a large part of the students who, or a large part of the students who want to work abroad, they now are looking at other avenues. The students who want to study in the US and want to go just to top universities and possibly come back to their family businesses, nothing has changed there. But the students who are looking to work abroad, they're looking at other options. For example, we now have students inquiring a lot about Germany. People are once again asking, is Canada still open for them? In Germany, if you just look like a decade ago, you had like what, 24,000 Indians working there. And today we're looking at the number to be nearly at 135,000. Overall, the Indian diaspora in Germany itself is over 300,000. Germany signed that comprehensive migration and mobility partnership with India. They introduced the Skilled Workers Act. Now they have lower barriers to degree recognition And it's easier to even switch jobs in Germany, because what Germany is saying is that we want Indian engineers, IT professionals, healthcare workers. We see a lot of interest in Australia as well. Australia has permanent migration of nearly 185,000 people, and 70% is just for skilled migrants. So
Right.
there are like 300,000 Indians on temporary visas in Australia, students, graduates, young professionals. This means that they already have a strong pipeline feeding into the skilled migration system.
Right. Right. Again, Karan, it's not just Australia, Canada, or for that matter, Germany, European countries, China. Now, all the moves to counter China, and now we're looking at people looking at China as an alternative as well. Should they be looking at China at all? How big an alternative has China become?
It is ironical for sure, Geeta, no two ways about it. When it comes to students, however, they want a good brand, high quality education, and then of course the chance to stay back and work in that country. With China, what's happening is that we have limited global institutes. They can only absorb a limited number of students. There already are so many students from China, Singapore, Hong Kong, etc., who are trying for those institutes. There aren't that many spots left for Indian students. So the admissions are very, very competitive. Not necessarily because these institutes are better, but just because the sheer volume, the amount of Indian kids and international kids who are applying to these institutes. So that's one. And two, again, work visas in China are not very easy. Again, in countries like India and China, you already have a very, very large population of people trying for jobs. So we've got to keep this into account when people are looking to apply to universities in China.
Right. Dr. Karan Gupta, thank you so much for joining us and giving us this perspective. Burberry wrapped up London Fashion Week with a show that was pure Britain. Think muddy fields, festival fashion, and Elton John in the front row. Kshitija Gosavi with this report.
Picture this, a giant tent in Kensington Palace Gardens. Its floor covered in fake mud. Its ceiling painted with clouds. A British music festival minus the soggy songs. As the sun set, Burberry rolled out a collection that danced through decades. Sharp mod suits, 60s fringe jackets, leather pants and raincoats for days. Crotcheted mini dresses with boots and skinny scarves gave the runway a Woodstock meets Glastonbury moment. And just before the lights dimmed, in slipped Elton John, the night's most discreet rock star guest. But the party wasn't just on the runway. Earlier that morning, Burberry made its comeback to the FTSE 100, rejoining the ranks of Britain's most valuable companies after a rocky year. Festival spirit, rock star glamour, and a financial glow-up. Burberry's finale sent one clear message. The brand is back and it is bringing the sunshine with it. With Kshitija Gosavi, Bureau Report, India Today.
That's all in this edition of India Today Global. For all the news and updates, you can log on to India Today, and also for all the latest on international news, do log on to and subscribe to India Today Global's YouTube channel. Goodbye and take care.